The Grinch by Dr. Seuss. Everyone who, down in Whoville, liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just up north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on right, but I think the most likely reason has been his heart has been 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and Who boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. The one thing he hated, the noise.
Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast. They would feast on a rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together, the Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand. The Who's would start singing. The more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing.
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it. I must stop this Christmas from coming.
Then he got an idea. An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
He made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat.
What a great Grinch trick with this coat and this hat. I look just like St. Nick.
The reindeer are scarce. There are none to be found around.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh. Then the Grinch said,
"Giddy up!"
And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without a care.
When he came to the first little house on the square,
this is stop number 1.
And he climbed to the roof. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. He stuck his head out the fireplace where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings are the first thing to go.
Then he slithered with the most unpleasant around. He smiled most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Drums, checkerboards, and tricycles.
He stuffed them in bags, then he slung to the icebox. He took the Who's feast, he took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with a glee.
And now, I will stuff up the tree.
The Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. When he heard a small sound, then he turned around fast and he saw a small Who. Little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2.
Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree?
Well, you know, the old Grinch was so smart, he thought up a lie.
Why, my sweet little tot, there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my shop. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back.
Then he patted her on the head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. Then he went up the chimney. On their walls he left nothing but some hooks and some wire. Then he did the same thing to other Who's houses. It was 1:15 dawn, all the Who's still in bed. When he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents.
The ribbings, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel. The trimmings, the trappings, 3,000 feet up. Up the side of Mount Crummit, he rode with this load to the tip-top to dump it.
Boo-hoo to the Who's. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he didn't hear a sound. He heard a sound rising over the snow. It sounded in low. Then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad, but it was very merry. He stared down at Whoville. Then he shook.
What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all, and the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons.
Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more.
Well, in Whoville, they say the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and he brought back the toys.
And the food for the feast.
He himself,
the Grinch, carved the roast. Happy, thanks. Okay, can we cut that?